the 419 with Gretchen DeBacker, Matt Killam, and Kevin Mullen.
Happy Memorial Day and welcome to the 419, powered by WGTE and presented by H.O.O.V.E.S Management. I'm Kevin Mullen.
Gretchen DeBacker.
Matt Killam.
It's a special Memorial Day edition of the
Yep.
419. We generally on Mondays do our Mayor Monday, but today we are focusing, as we should, we are focusing on veterans and some great organizations and great people serving veterans in our community. What's on the docket for you guys? What are the big plans for Memorial Day?
Working all day.
That's
Sorry.
the opposite of what you're supposed to do.
I know, but I have work to do.
Okay.
Unfortunately, what are you going to do?
The courts aren't open on
No,
Memorial
they're
Day.
not. No, I'm
You
going
have
to
no
the,
excuse.
I'm going to the jail to see clients.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. They like it when you come on a holiday.
Yeah, you
Seems
know
like
what?
extra.
That's nice of you.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so.
And I'll be there when Gretchen visits me. So that's my plan. That's my big plan. How about you? Do you have something that's a tradition or?
No, I do want to get out to the parade and get out and enjoy that today.
Yeah.
But that's not I don't regularly make it to it, and so I'm trying to make a point today. The folks that bought the fire truck are going to be driving the truck
no
in
way.
the parade.
Oh my goodness.
In the parade?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and so that's something that was on my list of like, oh, it'd be nice to put this in a parade, but I never got around to it.
Yeah.
And so I love that, like right out of the gate, they're like, let's go.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited for our lineup of guests today. Sometimes we can blow through holidays, and this isn't meant to be cynical, without celebrating the meaning of them. And I'm glad, Kevin, I think that you were the author or creator of this show. So this is a great institution that we're going to have on, and a gentleman that has been with it for almost a decade, as well as one of the participants in, and as well one of the clients. So a big day to remember the essence of what the celebration should be about or is about.
And
we're
my
gonna
niece
have-
is a horse girl. She's obsessed with horses. So my sister said a while ago we should have Amanda and the folks from H.O.O.V.E.S on, and then we thought perfect day to have them on. So.
perfect. So yeah, H.O.O.V.E.S is a I'm going to say equine therapy. I don't know that that's the right term. Amanda will correct me.
Yes, she will.
But incredible organization serving veterans. I went through a piece of the program.
Okay. I don't know if I knew that.
And
He just drops knowledge like
I
that
know.
often.
so when I was my position was eliminated during COVID, and I was sort of discerning what do I do next. I had connected with Amanda on LinkedIn and sort of shared with her like, hey, I'm not sure what's next. And she was like, well, if you're trying to figure it out, you should come out to the farm.
Yeah.
And so I went out there and did an exercise with the horses.
Oh, cool.
It is unbelievable. I don't know why or how it works.
Sure.
But I get chills thinking about it.
Yeah.
And to think that this is a gift that this organization is giving to folks that have sacrificed the most.
That's right.
And so it's incredible. So we'll have Amanda Held, the executive director of H.O.O.V.E.S, and then we'll also have Steve Murray, who is a volunteer with the program and also a graduate. So we'll be able to talk to him about his experience as well. And then as we wrap up the program, we'll have our friends from Inspired Lumber, the folks that made this very desk. But they also have a really cool program called Salute to Carpentry, which teaches woodworking to veterans and first responders.
Oh, that's neat.
And so we'll talk about the work that they're doing, how this got started, get an update on their business.
Well, I can talk a little bit. I came in 50th in our Pinewood Derby competition as a Boy Scout. So my woodworking.
I think there were 10 contestants.
There were not anywhere near close to 50.
Yeah.
It was the Tri-County area.
Love it. All right, let's take a break. When we come back, Amanda Held will join us
Yeah, all right,
here on the
Amanda.
419, powered by WGTE. Support for the 419 comes from H.O.O.V.E.S Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at WeTroAdvisors.com.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.
Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGTE, as we celebrate Memorial Day here on the program. We're joined now by Amanda Held with H.O.O.V.E.S. Healing of our Veterans Equine Services.
I'm so impressed, Kevin.
That is so good.
I-
Kevin.
so impressed.
And I did not look that up.
No,
Wow.
he knew it this morning.
That's
Came in.
amazing.
Yeah.
Let's
That's
go.
amazing.
We do get to teach Gretchen what an acronym was, which was 5
was
minutes of my
hard.
life I can't get back.
Yeah, I'm still trying to figure it out.
It was painful. What is, if people aren't familiar with H.O.O.V.E.S, what is your organization?
Absolutely. So H.O.O.V.E.S is a sanctuary and healing center in Swanton, Ohio, and we provide 5-day healing intensives for veterans and first responders struggling with mental health challenges, and we do that nationwide.
How did this get started?
Well, I think every purposeful nonprofit is always started from the founder's own life experience. So I have 26 years in the military total. I'm still serving in the Guard. But when I got out of active duty, I really struggled with the transition.
Sure.
And I just found myself in a dark place. I didn't want to be here anymore. And it was actually a wild Mustang that changed my life. And
Where are you from originally?
so I'm originally, I graduated from Swanton High School.
Okay.
Swore I would never come back,
Sure.
and here I am. You know,
Yeah,
I think we all
classic.
do that at some
Yeah.
point,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
Never going
I
back.
said it about this show.
But yet every day he shows up.
Yeah, I also sleep under the desk, so it's helpful just in terms of geography. But Amanda, this story, we've got a lot to get to, and
Yeah.
never enough time.
Of course.
But so, if you don't mind bringing us from little Amanda into service, how did you make that decision? Where did you go? What was it?
It's actually a really embarrassing story.
Excellent.
It is not, you know, a lot of people join the military because they're like, I want to fight for my country. Well, me and my girlfriends were sitting around the kitchen table one day, and it wasn't my idea. It was my friend Brandy, and she was like, don't you think it would be cool if we like joined the military and then we could get in really good shape? And there's like lots of guys to choose from, and
Sure.
you know, we get to travel the world. And
Well, she's not wrong.
she's not wrong.
Technically,
Those are all good selling points. Yeah.
she should be a recruiter.
She should be a
kept a few
recruiter.
things
I mean,
out.
she got me in, you know.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so it had never crossed my mind. I wanted to be a fashion designer and go to Chicago.
Yeah.
So it was just really the first time I had ever considered it. But my grandfather was a Korean War vet, and he was a jet engine mechanic, so that was inspiring.
No
and
kidding. Yeah.
my mom was actually in the other room. I was a little bit of a difficult child, so
Get out
she
of
heard the
town.
conversation, and she got on the phone with the recruiter. And 20 minutes later, I was in a van.
Like, take her.
And 2 months later, I was gone. So I like to say it was fate.
Are you sure it was the military that you were involved in?
And then Liam Nielsen came and said,
What branch were you in?
Yeah.
So Air Force, so
Okay.
4 years active duty, then the Guard, and I'm actually getting ready to go to the reserves now.
Okay.
Wonderful. Thank
They
you
just
for your
can't get
service.
rid of
Yeah,
me.
no kidding.
Yeah.
Thank you for your service.
What does, we're celebrating Memorial Day here. I want to talk a little bit more about H.O.O.V.E.S and your organization, but what does Memorial Day mean to you?
Well, you know, it's interesting. One of the most uncomfortable things that tends to happen to veterans on Memorial Day is people say thank you to us, right? But Memorial Day, and we, you know, always gently correct people. Like, it's really time to honor and celebrate the sacrifice and honor the lives of the men and women who made the ultimate sacrifice, the one that we all sign up for and pray we don't have to do.
Yeah, right.
And there are, one of the things that we know from the veteran community is that the fight doesn't end when they get out of service, right?
Absolutely
It
not.
continues. And I know you and I have talked about one of those challenges is that, you know, when you're in the military, you wake up every day with a specific purpose and a specific list of things you need to do, and you get out and that's gone. What does that lead to, and then how does H.O.O.V.E.S come in and help with that?
Well, this is probably going to sound a little bit strange, but one of the things that I love is brain science and neuroscience, right? And so I think it's just been a missing element, and I will not nerd out on you guys, I promise, but high level, like you talk about, Kevin, the brain is trained every day to be told what to do, and and the nervous system gets used to that, right? And also because we're going into high energy, especially on deployments, every day we got to be ready to go. Our bodies start producing all these hormones that make us live a certain way, and then it's just gone. And there's no transition. And it's really interesting because then you're probably like, well, how in the heck do horses have anything to do with this? But science is advancing, and we're realizing that horses can actually pick up on our hormone panels, essentially. You know, they can sense and smell and feel our biology, and they respond to that in real time. So I know
Horses are more prone to being aware of this as a species, or they're finding out the many species of animals are?
Well, horses are unique, and one of the questions that I get often is like, well, why don't you just use dogs? They're cheaper and easier to transport and take care of. But dogs are pack animals, and horses, interestingly, and I will not also go on this crusade.
No, we're fascinated by this, please.
Okay, so people like to just label horses as prey animals, but they're not just prey animals. Like a bunny is a prey animal. If you chase it, it just runs away. But horses are non-predatory herd animals, and they have a really, really high sense of self-preservation. So horses, they may run from you, but if they feel like they can't run anymore, they will fight you, right? So in order for them to stay alive in the wild, their survival response is constantly scanning the environment and saying, okay, how are these other horses behaving? And I'm going to behave like those horses, because if I'm the horse that stands out, I'm the target for the wolf.
Interesting.
So we get to really incorporate things that are natural to horses. And people always ask about training. How do you train your horse to do this work? You don't. We actually, the more, and a lot of the horses in our program are wild horses.
Okay.
Well, formerly wild. They're obviously safe for people.
Of course.
But those instincts are so high, and I feel like it really makes them very impactful for this work, because it's real-time feedback.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I want to talk a little bit. I mentioned in the intro that I had done an exercise. You and I were standing in the pen. You're asking me questions, and I'm observing the horses and their interactions. And I started to apply emotions to the different horses. And then you and I are just talking. And I was nervous. I was,
Sure.
I thought I knew what the right next step for me to do was, but I was scared that it wasn't going to be the right step. And I remember.
It was Tulip and Donk.
Yep. And well, Donk is not a horse.
He's not. He's a donk.
He thinks he's a horse.
He does.
But I remember one of the horses just taking off out of the pen, and it was the horse that to me looked like it was afraid. And at the moment that I was like, no, this is what I'm going to do, I look up and the horse just bolts out of the pen, and it was literally fear leaving, saying this is what we're doing. But you're saying like that was really the horse picking up on what I'm going through. That is just one of the exercises in this 5-day intensive program. Talk to me about the different pieces of this.
Yeah, absolutely. So, and I just want to say quickly, we filmed a documentary that actually follows a veteran through the whole process. It's on our website. So if anybody wants to actually see it in real time, and we have that available, and I encourage everyone to watch it. But we have really curated these 5 days for each thing that we do to build on the next thing. So in the morning, we'll do something mindful. We have meditation with horses. We have a mindfulness walking path, yoga, breath work. And my husband runs a program, Miles to Freedom, where he actually takes all the veterans into the Metro Park on a bike ride. They do about 7 miles, which is also amazing because a lot of the veterans don't think physically they're capable of things sometimes, and then they get out. That could be a whole nother episode. But so in the morning, we're doing something to reconnect to our body, right? Because when our body hurts, we leave. Even if it's emotional, we leave, right? And then we become head thinkers. And the more we're out of our body, the harder it is to re-access it. So we've got to, if we're gonna start healing this, we've got to get back into it. So we open the day with that. And then we do about 4 hours of classroom work. And we don't call it a retreat because it's not, it's intense. But that's where we talk about our brain and our biology, because there's so much people don't know. And if you don't know what's going on and things are just happening to you,
You can't identify it.
You
right?
can't, you
Right,
can't make
right.
sense of it, exactly. So we help them understand why they feel the way they do. And the amount of shame that I see leave, it's like, oh, wait. I tell people, your body is having a normal response to an abnormal experience. There's nothing, it's not that something is wrong with you. You just haven't been given the understanding and the pathway to work through all of that. And that's what we're doing in the classroom. Then,
Amanda, did the horses find you, or did you find horses?
yes.
Can you elaborate a little bit on
Yes.
that? Yeah.
When I was 3, I just started saying horse, and I became obsessed. I didn't play with Barbie. I played with My Little Pony and then Breyer horses. I could not care less about other toys. Unfortunately, my mom saw that passion in me. I mean, my parents went to Whitmer and we lived in Toledo, but she would drive me all the way out to Delta to get my riding lessons when I was 5 years old.
Okay.
And that really opened it up when I was 12. They surprised me for Christmas and bought me my first horse.
Yeah.
And then I had to give all that up to join the military. So there was a period of time in my life I couldn't even walk into a barn without crying because it's part of who I am. I was born this way.
So, and the first steps to be at the location where you're at now were what? You came back from active duty and immediately headed back into Swanton? Talk to me a little bit about, because building these things, I don't want to blow past it. We'll take all the time we need. The show is recorded. So I don't want to, I think it's really important for people to have an understanding of how all of this was built.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got out of active duty. I really struggled. I ended up getting a divorce.
Sure.
So I called my dad. I had 2 kids, and I told my dad, you need to come get me and bring me home.
Yeah, and I'm going to punch Brandy in the face.
No, I love Brandy to death for this. Made my whole life. But yeah, I said, but don't come without a horse trainer, because I had adopted my Mustang that, really helped me. So I put my kids' beds in one half of the horse trailer and my horse in the other half, and we trucked it back to Swanton, Ohio.
That's right.
And I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I had no education. I was a waitress. And I went to Owens Community College and then ended up getting my bachelor's and my master's in psychology. But while I was in college for business, I wrote a business plan thinking, oh, there's no way this is ever going to happen. And I shoved it away in a drawer. And then my grandfather, he used to drive for Priority Mail, and he found this farm in Grand Rapids, Ohio. And he was like, you got to go check it out. And I'm like, okay, Grandpa, it's a $500,000 farm,
Yeah.
But I went.
Yeah.
And, my faith is just huge in this. And I snuck into the property, into the indoor arena. I hit my knees and I just prayed. And I said, God, if you give me this place, I will use it to help people.
Yeah.
And I just got this voice that was ask your dad to go into business with you.
Yeah.
So I tell people, if you
was
could.
that voice Brandy?
No.
Again?
No, but okay, full circle.
Yeah, please.
Brandy ended up marrying a military person and was in a not great relationship.
Did Brandy go into the military?
No, Brandy, no, neither one of the other 2 girls did. And they regret it. They have told me many times they regret it. But Brandy ended up marrying somebody in the Army who was horrible and abusive. And we also offer this same program for spouses and caregivers of veterans. So Brandy actually came through my program and was able to find healing after her marriage ended.
And then put her in a van and shipped her off.
Take her off. How did you figure out or find out, discover, learn, whatever the word is, that the impact that horses were having with you working with them was not just isolated as it relates to you and your love and belief in horses? How did you know that it would either work or be something that other people would benefit from?
Well, I didn't, but what I did in Colorado, I learned from some really great horsemen, and I wanted to be a horse trainer. So I didn't even have doing this therapeutic work on my radar. I just wanted to be a horse trainer because the ways that horses are trained or were trained, and it's getting better, were very barbaric. And I wanted to come back to Ohio and bring this new insight. And so long story short, I take my dad to lunch, I hand him my business plan. I say, let's buy this farm. You need a retirement investment, which is great. You know the quickest way to make $1 million on a horse farm?
Start with $2 million.
But anyway, it sounded like a good idea at the time, so we did it. And we were just boarding and training horses. Our business blew up. We had 40 horses at our facility within 6 months. I mean,
wow.
I was training, giving lessons, competing, and I got back into the horse world, and I didn't like what I saw. People were abusing their horses at these shows, and I couldn't be in that environment.
Yeah.
And the industry can be very, you think Dance Moms is bad? Oh no, it's a whole nother level, right? So I was like, this is toxic. I don't want to be a part of this. I shut my whole facility down, and I was like, okay, God, what are we doing here?
That's right.
And I happened to meet a guy that introduced me to equine-assisted psychotherapy and learning, and I observed as I was teaching, and it was funny because I would get a lot of clients who were women who got horses later in life. Maybe they always had a dream to have a pony and they couldn't do that. Now they're high-powered successful business women, and they have the money, and they would go buy these expensive, well-trained horses, and within 2 months, these horses are trying to attack them. And then they would come to me like, what's going on? This is a well-trained horse. And I would say like, well, horses reflect the life inside of their humans. So what's going on in you?
Fascinating.
You know, and then I would work with them and help them fix the relationship
interesting.
with their horses. And then they would come back and they'd be like, I'm managing my employees better. I'm managing my family better. My kids are different around me. My husband's different. So for a short period of time, I thought I had invented something really cool. But then it turns out there's a whole industry.
Still, you got it.
But we're closing the segment here, and I'm going to ask you a question that I'm not qualified to ask, and I'm sure it's wildly complicated. But of all the individuals that come to your farm and what you know about psychology, is the pursuit of happiness what possible? Is that a legitimate goal, or are we looking to be more at peace? Or how would you describe a life?
What are they seeking when they come there?
Yeah. Tell me, it doesn't have to be a word, and again, this can take as long as it needs to take. What are you helping people find?
Well, I think that's a great question, and we have quite a few interviews with the alumni that have been through, and so many of them, and this is not something I ever would have thought people were looking for, but so many of them have come through and said, I can breathe again.
Yeah.
Like they're not even thinking about happiness, they're thinking about, can I breathe?
Yeah.
Can I function?
Yeah.
You know, and to your point of like, you know, I will not go down that rabbit hole, but happiness, right? What is happiness? I think it's unique within every individual. And so one of the things that we teach in our program is not about how to find happiness, but it's about how to associate to reality, right? That's the first step. And there's a lot of steps after that. But and this is my thing, like, if somebody tells you that shouldn't have happened to you, or you believe that shouldn't have happened to you, if you wake up every day with that thought, the things in my life that have happened to me should not have happened to me, how do you ever move beyond that, right? So it's not about saying what happened to me was good or bad or should or shouldn't. It's, this is what happened to me, and how can I take this and not let it be in vain? And how can I grow and learn and serve humanity? And that's full circle.
We're talking with Amanda Held with H.O.O.V.E.S. We're going to take a break. When we come back, stick around with us. We'll have Steve Murray, a volunteer and graduate of the H.O.O.V.E.S program, will join us. People want more information on H.O.O.V.E.S. Where can they get it?
Yeah, our website, H.O.O.V.E.S, and I don't know if I can talk about an event really quick on the 31st.
Let's do it when we come back. Yeah,
perfect.
We'll talk about it when we come back from the break. We'll be right back on the
Perfect.
419.
To me, community means connecting to others.
I'm Donnie Miller, and welcome to The Point.
I love CBS Kids!
We're a community committed to education. Discover new ideas, dive into exciting subjects, and engage with the world around you.
I would send them personally a t-shirt. Crime doesn't pay in the old West End, pass it on. That's how we cleaned up the neighborhood.
Vision loss for people is not the end.
It's a story, it's the next chapter.
WGTE Public Media invites you to Get Out and Play Day.
Monday through Friday, it's the 419 powered by WGTE. With Matt Killam, Gretchen DeBacker, I'm Kevin Mullen.
What can people expect on the show?
It's going to be an hour, a reminder of why this is a great place to live, work, and play.
WGTE, where you come to watch, listen, and learn.
Welcome back into the 419 as we celebrate Memorial Day here with WGTE. We're joined by the folks from H.O.O.V.E.S, Amanda Held, Executive Director, and also we have now Steve Murray. You are a volunteer and a graduate of the program.
Yes, yep.
You are also a military veteran.
I am. I started out 2 years in the Ohio National Guard out here in Walbridge, got to the rank of E4 and was stuck, so I decided to go full-time active duty Air Force, and I told the recruiter, I said, give me the hardest job you can find, and I became an explosive ordnance disposal technician.
Oh my gosh.
Did you talk to Brandy before going?
No, I didn't.
Who drove you?
Where did you serve?
I served 6 years in California in the Space Shuttle Recovery Team during when the Challenger blew up, and then also went to Alaska, spent 4 years up there in Fairbanks at Eielson Air Force Base, amazing area, and then traveled all over the place and supported the original Desert Storm.
Words matter. I want to make sure I'm using this right. Amanda and Mr. Murray, the individuals that participate in H.O.O.V.E.S, you refer to them as what?
Alumni?
Alumni.
After
okay.
they've come through, yeah.
Very good. All right. And people that are in...
They're cohorts.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you very much.
So, Steve, I'm curious. We talked a little bit with Amanda about the role that H.O.O.V.E.S plays for veterans, but about some of that transition from active duty to civilian life. What was that transition like for you, if you don't mind sharing?
For me, when I got out of the military, I was actually forced out due to budget constraints in '92, and I had bad feelings about the military for a long time.
Sure.
And then one time we were watching TV, watching some kind of a charity event, and I looked at my wife and I said, I need to do something to support the veterans. So I started doing this golf outing, and it wasn't for Amanda at first because I didn't know who she was. That came about when my wife went to fill in for my sister at one of the events as a volunteer, and my wife came back and she was just blown away. She said, "You've got to meet Amanda. You've got to meet this place." So we went out, and I fell in love with the program, with everything it was about, and now I just had my 13th annual golf outing, and wow. I think it's been 9 years mm-hmm. that I've been supporting Amanda and her program, and it's probably one of the biggest highlights of my life.
What are the characteristics or the feelings or the thoughts that a returning veteran has, in your experience, to compel them to want to participate in this program? What's their daily life like?
A lot of, for me, it was a lack of direction, a lack of, the biggest thing I missed was the family. When you're in the military, you're away from your family unit, so you become a family with people you're working with and you're deployed with. And when you get out of the military, sure, you're home with your family, but it's not the same. You developed a family with people that yes. you're in combat, and I was on the bomb squad for 10 years as people that I put my life in mm-hmm. harm's way, and these people were there for me, and I was there for them. And when I got out, it was gone. Yeah. So my biggest thing when I got to H.O.O.V.E.S is I had my family back. Yeah. And how that kind of seems weird, but
no, it doesn't.
But that was my biggest thing.
My grandfather was a World War II veteran and came back, and I think the struggle, he never filled that void. Not that he had a particularly difficult life or an easy one either, but he had a big family. But it never, my grandmother, these were her words, it never replaced what he found in the Army. She said that if they had to do it over again, he should have been a career Army person.
Steve, is there a moment going through the H.O.O.V.E.S program that kind of sticks with you, that you're like, this works?
Like an aha.
She's laughing because probably think of moments with Hemi in the round pen. And Hemi is a rather large animal. He's a big Clydesdale. And one of the first things you do when you come into the program is you take a little quiz and decide what kind of a horse you are, just because.
I love everything about this.
Yes. Personality test.
Yeah, absolutely.
And every time, except for this last one, I've been a Clydesdale, just like Hemi. So, and Clydesdale is always a helper. It's somebody that takes care of everybody. And so I always tried to. Do that, and I always figured, well, I'll hang out with Hemi because he's a Clydesdale like me. He'll be easy, Mm-hmm. And he was not easy.
Yeah.
I've spent several times in the round pen with Hemi, and several times he's shown me exactly who I was at that point.
What a jerk you are.
That's right.
Yeah.
And the one time that's most memorable, I was in the round pen, and I had my walls up like I always do, and to protect myself. And Hemi noticed that, and he turned around, walked all the way to the other side of the round pen, and just showed me his butt. And I walked over to him, and he turned around and walked right back to the other side, and same thing. And And Amanda called me over to the rails and was talking to me, and I kind of just lost it. And, you know, for a man to cry in front of other people, you know, especially the way I was raised, it didn't do it well.
Right.
I've had some really ugly cries, I tell you, out at H.O.O.V.E.S, and she's been present for 99% of them. But the amazing thing is when I broke down and let the walls down and started to cry, Hemi's head was right on my shoulder.
Oh my gosh. That is such an interesting thing about
That's an incredible story.
About military service, primarily still men in the military, and the, you know, the projection of strength and stoicism and those kinds of things that even in this day and age are expected of men, right? What do you think about now that you're on the other side of it, that you allowed yourself to participate in this, and what do you find is better about your life as a man and a husband, and since you've done this?
I think I have a lot more confidence in myself. I think I'm a better father, better husband, better grandfather, and a better friend. You know, it's just I'm able to be more myself and less worried about what other people think of me, which was my entire life before, was what everybody thought of me. You know, so which is a lot of people. But
what's your relationship with Hemi today?
Every time I go out to the farm, I go back to the back ranch and back field and try to find him.
Yeah.
And sometimes he'll come over to me. Other times he stays out there with his head in the feed barn. You know, but it's all the perspective. You know.
There's a chance that somebody watching this, you know, this program is somebody that needs what H.O.O.V.E.S does. It's more likely that there's somebody watching this program that loves somebody who needs this.
Right.
What would you say to that individual, or what would you say to that person about why they should head out to the farm?
Well, my way into the program, I never, for 2 years as a volunteer, I would never take part in the retreat. And I was asked several times, and I had never been to combat. You know, my brother was in the Navy with me. He was in war zone, so I could never go. So I went all over the world in support of Desert Storm, but so I never thought I deserved a spot there. And one of the guys that was a combat veteran, Nick, at one of the charity events, he looked at me and said, "If you want to keep calling me a friend, you need to go to a retreat." And so
That's
I did,
And that's right.
And I've been to 7 of them. I went through my first one, and it was eye-opening and amazing. And then I came back as a mentor 6 times, and every time is another level or another layer of the onion, as Amanda likes to say. You know, peel back another layer, and it never gets easier, but it's so worth it. I mean, take the time to go out there, and you know, just let your walls down and be present, and you know, and everybody gets something different out of it. But I tell you, every time you drive through the gate at H.O.O.V.E.S, everything, all your problems just wash away. It's, you know.
The most interesting thing about trauma is how, you know, we compare it to other people, right? And I think more often than not, I found this in my own life of saying, you know, I've got this thing going on, but it could be worse, right? Somebody's got it worse. But all that does is keep us from seeking the help we need.
That's it. And then I guess my transition is back into Amanda. We've talked about this in several other shows in terms of what you deserve, Mr. Murray. I'm to quote you on that. And we think of entitlement in a very negative sense. Amanda, talk to me about what people deserve and what they're entitled to in terms of the health and wellness that are delivered out in Swan, Ohio.
Well, that's such a great question, and it is probably the number one pushback that I get is I don't want to take a spot for somebody that has it worse than me, you know. And I think, you know, not in a judgment way, but in an observation way, I think sometimes that is selfish, right? Because if we can't become the best version of ourselves, we're limiting everybody that comes into contact with us.
That's
so,
right.
you know, sometimes when people say that to me, then I say, well, is it just about you? Or is it about your community, the people that care about you and the world, right? I think every veteran deserves this program. I think that something, even if it's just the book work that we do informationally, like every veteran deserves to know this information so they don't get out thinking something's wrong with them and don't end up, so many veterans have said, if I just would have came here first, I wouldn't have fill in the blank, lost my family, turned to drugs, et cetera, et cetera. So I think every veteran's entitled to this, whether they've been to combat or not.
You've got an event coming up.
We do. So May is Mental Health Awareness Month, and we are actually one of 130 charities nationwide. We got selected for part of the Horses for Mental Health campaign. So we've been campaigning all month, and we're going to close that down at the farm on the 31st. It's a Sunday at noon, from noon to 5. And we're going to have food trucks. We're going to have Pepperoni Tony, Coral Hamburg, and CK Sweets food trucks. Patrick Caligari is going to give us some awesome live music. And it's just going to be an opportunity for people to check out our mission, meet the horses. We'll have face painting by Marvelous Creations.
Cool.
So it's just going to be a great way to connect with the community and really understand what horses can do for our mental health.
Mr. Murray, you'll also be doing the face painting, you said?
Sure.
He's going to get a butterfly.
Love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
We asked the question for Amanda. We'll ask you, what does Memorial Day mean to you?
Memorial Day is a day that we remember all those that have paid the ultimate price. And I agree with what she said. People say, well, thank you for your service. Well, Memorial Day is not about me. It's about the people that have given everything so that I could have the freedom that I have today. And it's a very solemn day. And, my grandfather was in World War II also. And, just remember those people that have gone before us and created what we all live in today.
As we close here, I want to make sure that we go back to somewhat to the beginning. Tell us all the ways that people can connect, or even if it's possible to walk in the front door. Tell us how people can get connected with the services out in Swan.
Absolutely. So our social media, it's H.O.O.V.E.S for Vets at Facebook. We have tons on our social media. They can go to our website. If they want to attend an intensive, they can just fill out a very short application and one of our onboarding specialists will get with them. Or we have our graduations. So actually the community can come and see the veterans graduate and support them. We do fly people in from out of town that don't have family here, so they always get so excited when people they don't even know come to celebrate the work that they've done. Those are all listed on our website. And my personal cell phone's on there, so if you need support or you have questions, feel free to get a hold of me.
I've received so many gifts from H.O.O.V.E.S in my friendship with you, but I know that you brought some gifts for Matt and Gretchen today.
I did.
If you want to snag those, we'll have Steve reach over and grab those. Thank you so much. All right, guys, got to open your gifts.
Nice.
It's a horse.
Oh my God.
I assume you are coffee drinkers.
Yes,
so,
you assumed correctly.
So the honey is actually produced by the hives at our farm. Diamond Dave is our beekeeper. We've co-branded a coffee.
These are wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
We've
much.
got great, for those of you who are just listening, we've got a great decals. This logo is powerful and beautiful, which is also how I
these
described.
mugs are way too nice for us, but thank you.
Yeah. Mine's a sippy
Thank you
cup.
so much.
That's fine. Amanda, Steve, thank you so much.
Appreciate you guys so much.
Appreciate
Thank you for being here. Thank you so much.
Yes,
Appreciate
thank
you
We'll
guys
take a break.
taking
When
the
we
time.
come back, Anna and Brian Collin from Inspired Lumber will join us and talk about the Salute to Carpentry. We'll be right back in a special Memorial Day edition of the 419.
Support for the 419 comes from WGTE Wealth Management, where we understand that your financial path is personal. Advisory services are offered through Capital Investment Advisory Services, LLC. Securities offered through Capital Investment Group, Inc. Member FINRA and SIPC. More information at WGTEadvisors.com.
Destination Toledo. Whether you're a local or a visitor, Destination Toledo invites you to explore the region and be a tourist in Toledo. Find events, dining, and things to do at visittoledo.org.
WorkSpring. HR issues and employee well-being go hand in hand. WorkSpring supports employers through compliance, training, and wellness because healthy workplaces don't happen by accidents. Learn more at workspring.org.
Toledo Refining Company, a subsidiary of PDF Energy. Toledo Refining Company is a supplier of fuels that keep our region moving. Located in Oregon, Ohio, the refinery processes crude oil into gasoline, diesel, jet fuel, and other petroleum products.
And TARTA, celebrating its 55th year of connecting Northwest Ohioans to their community. More information info@tarta.com. Welcome back into the 419, powered by WGTE. We're celebrating Memorial Day here with our friends at WGTE. Just wrapped up a conversation with H.O.O.V.E.S, and now we welcome in I can't believe this is the first time we're having you guys on the program.
I know.
But in some
Shows a
way,
lack of appreciation that we don't mean.
in some way, you've been on the program all along because Inspired Lumber made the desk that we use every day. Brian and Anna Collin, welcome in to the 419.
Thanks for having us.
We are undeserving of this.
No, yeah,
It is beautiful. This is the first time of, to sit here and actually feel it. It's exactly what we hoped that it would be. I love the color, by the way.
When we
Good choice.
talked about the program and working with WGTE to build a set, right away I was like, I know what we got to do. And I picked up the phone and called Sue, the set designer, and said, I know what's got to happen. She goes, I've already talked to him. And I was like, I love so much that you guys have become a part of the community in such an incredible way in such a short time. If people aren't familiar with Inspired Lumber, what is it, where is it, and how long have you guys been around?
Yeah, so Inspired Lumber Workshop, it was kind of born out of necessity. We had a flood in our basement, and we decided that we needed to do the work ourselves, and so he started figuring out how to build things and do things, and before we knew it, he found a talent he didn't know he had.
You're kidding me.
No.
Yeah. And so
Self-taught, mostly.
So 2018, we call it our disaster-tunity. Everything was, we had black mold growing in the basement, and
which is delicious, right?
Oh, it's fantastic. It's wonderful for the health.
Yeah, it's so good.
So he started literally like YouTubing how to do this, how to do that, and before we knew it, he found this talent. And working in Northwest Ohio doesn't work in January.
I'm not gonna. We can't blow past this. Tell me, other than what was just said. Day one, you are whittling.
I had no idea what I was doing.
He was afraid to do anything. He wouldn't hang a picture.
That I can relate to.
What were you doing before this?
I was doing IT work.
A natural transition into.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. They go hand in hand. No, I for a long time even wanted to build a rack to hold the tools in the back of my truck and didn't even build that.
100%.
So
yeah, that part I get.
Yeah.
Owning tools, he doesn't even.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so
I
most
sit
of my
next to him all
tools
day
weren't
long.
woodworking tools. They were,
brand new.
Well, still brand new, but all my stuff was in. But the tools that I had were all for IT work. They were, equipment that I would use to be able to test networks, phone systems, stuff like
protector,
that.
Yeah, things to say to alienate people who are coming to help.
Absolutely, absolutely. But no, it was something completely out of the realm of possibility.
Brother. Yeah, that's
and then
amazing.
Something happened, and we were thrown into this. We had an opportunity to take it on ourselves. We had a rider on the insurance that gave us some extra money, and
so when you're
tore everything down.
looking at the YouTube or the videos, or you're doing research, and you attempt something, what is the feeling? Are you like, wait a minute? That turned out really great. That was easy. I can do this. Like, is that what was going on?
And that's what it was. Something I picked up on or figured out right away was breaking everything down into smaller steps. And when we teach classes at the wood shop, we do the same thing. We go one connection, one nail at a time, and breaking down the process really makes it easier for everybody to understand.
But it's a heck of a big leap to go from, hey, I'm good at this, to I'm going to make an entire organization and teach the community. And oh, by the way, support
that wasn't a huge leap because when I got sent home from Fifth Third during COVID and I'm watching him out the back door, it was a question of, is my husband going to live or is he going to do this safely? And
so which did you prefer?
I preferred that he lived.
Okay. All right.
And so when he was using various tools, which most people have, like these portable table saws and things, and they're like, I'm going to go out and I'm going to build this. They're not using them correctly. And we see so many videos of people who are like, shouldn't do that, don't do that, that's not safe. I went in and I said, do you really have to use a table saw? And he goes, yeah. And I said, then we have to do something better. And so we started looking.
But we've talked to so many people on this program that, not dissimilar to you guys, have an experience, solve a problem. You could have just solved it for yourself and left alone, right? You could have, as this grew and you're like, all right, I need a space outside of my garage, outside of my basement to do this work that I'm now turning into my life's work. You could have done that. You didn't have to build a community around it, but you did.
Yeah, and every day we question. We're like, what did we do? We're like, did this really happen?
How did this happen?
Right, did this happen? And I think that's the thing is that we've been fully based on faith. I mean, we've just been listening. We feel like we're just kind of puppets, like we're just being used to do this in the best possible way.
Are either of you veterans?
No.
No.
No, we
So
are
what
not.
made you, what was your call to want to specifically support that community?
So when we first opened, we knew that we wanted to serve the veteran and first responder population, knowing that they have so many mental health issues and things after they leave service. But we didn't know what that looked like. And so we thought, okay, most places do a discount or something. And we started kind of going down that path. But an opportunity presented itself with another small nonprofit who came to us and said, hey, have you thought about doing this? And Lucas County Veteran Services Commission was interested in creating a program. And so Brian kind of sat down and we developed this 6-week-long kind of introductory program, foundational program, and just started to take off like crazy. And it's just been beautiful to watch the transition, something that we never expected. I mean, I have family members who are veterans, and so for me that was a really important group to touch. So,
I just want to back up just for a second in case someone has just tuned in, and the two of you are on vacation or in an elevator somewhere, and someone asks you, "What is Inspired Lumber?" Answer that question for me.
So, Inspired Lumber Workshop is a membership-based woodshop creative space. So anybody can come in. So you don't have to be a veteran or a first responder to do this, but anybody can walk through the door. Kevin's been in there many times, making many messes, mind you.
Yeah, sure.
Some of the most spectacular messes.
One of my favorite messes.
He still has all of his fingers, though, so that's...
I am the best at making a mess.
But he lost the shoes he wore to his wedding because of an epoxy spill.
And a pair of pants and
a
shirt.
And a shirt.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're a membership-based woodshop and creative safe. So people can come in, we teach them how to use the power tools, and then they can gain access. So,
And so
I
you-
love that idea.
Yeah.
So you've also become a woodworker.
Proficient enough on the
Sure.
so we have a whole crafting side where people can come in with pre-cut things, so it's great
Okay.
for office parties, girls' nights out, things like that. I do all the
fun.
design stuff on that, so
Yeah.
I'm amazing at the bandsaw. That's the one big tool I'm
Seems
awesome
to be a
at.
theme we're finding here on the show already. The bandsaw is a big part of today's
I
stuff.
love the bandsaw.
Guys, I am
Let's all fill in the blank. Go ahead. You do one. It's like a Mad Lib. A waste of space.
I am not a handy person.
Shock.
I know.
I'm
But
a little shocked by that, I guess.
But I bought my first set of power tools
Kevin, that
shortly
should
after
not
I got the fire truck,
be allowed.
and like slowly tried to learn how to use them, but don't really know what I'm doing. I'm a YouTube figure it out kind of person myself, but I look at some of these great things that other people are making, and I'm like, all right, I can make a cutting board. Like, I can do this. It is surprisingly harder than you think.
No,
but
It's exactly as hard as I think.
But I have gifted cutting boards to family and friends. I've made a coffee table for our house.
You've taken the kids there, haven't you? The school kids there to do a
The
class?
school kids went and made some stuff for.
Yeah, they made squirrel house boxes. We partnered with Nature's Nursery on doing a big program for squirrel houses or squirrel nests, and then you brought the school in and we did those there. And
so salute to
Now,
carpentry.
why do squirrels need houses?
so if they're injured, they need rehabbing. They put the nests in with them, and then they take them back out in the nest and they rehab them. That's a Nature's Nursery
Do
process.
you know the stats of unhoused squirrels are?
So funny.
What a monster Gretchen is.
Salute to carpentry.
Yeah,
if people want more information on this, this is a program that you charge veterans an insane amount of money to get this, or it's no cost.
There is zero cost for Salute to Carpentry. It is. We started a nonprofit in addition to, because why not, right?
Sure.
Right.
I actually reached out, and we actually had a long conversation beforehand. And I said, if we could partner with somebody, it'd be best not to have another nonprofit if we don't need it. And I was informed by Toledo Community Foundation. They said, do it. There's nobody else in this space, and it sounds like a needed thing. And so far, it's been amazing. So we have the Inspired Lumber Workshop. And then the Inspired Lumber Project is our 501c3, which raises the funds to provide ongoing free access for veterans and first responders.
How are people getting to you? Do they find you on social media or on our website?
Yeah, we have done zero advertising. Everything has been by word of mouth, which has been phenomenal. Our veterans and our veteran participants and our members they love it. And so it's been just wonderful to kind of see this organically grow. We are at a position now where we are ready to really grow this, and so we want to get more word out. The Inspired Lumber Project is where you can gain access or more information about the Salute to Carpentry program. It's as simple as filling out an application. You just have to show your DD-214 or verify your employment with it's EMS 5 fire, and police who report to scene. As of right now, unless we get additional funding, which we have a lot of nurses who want to do this, but we have to get the right. And we'd love to be able to do that. We just have to get the right funding. So, ProMedica, Mercy, talk to me.
I've got a flyer in front of me as celebrating the 250th. There's an opportunity for people to support the project.
Yes.
And if you're not a DIYer and you don't want to go in and build your own picnic table, the reality is you can support the veterans. And we can't talk pricing here, but you can purchase a handmade picnic table made by veterans, and there's a handful of other things on here.
Can you make a coffin for Gretchen? And
we could. Would we? We'd have to talk to Gretchen first.
First of all, would we is a good pun.
All right.
That's funny. It's good.
That is good. All right, let's do this. We're going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Because it's. I know you.
We've done the quiz at this desk many times before. It's only appropriate for the people that built the desk to do the quiz.
It's now time for Gretchen's Wacky Quiz. It'll be great. I've given you no prep on this, and I'm so excited.
Oh, boy.
All right, I am going to ask 4 rapid-fire questions that are completely nonsensical.
Okay.
Gretchen is going to ask you to describe Toledo in 1 word.
Okay.
And then you and Matt will work together to list the 9 best things in Toledo.
Oh, gosh.
These could be restaurants. They could be,
each other.
one or both of your children's names.
Okay.
Just one would be fine too. It doesn't matter.
I can't do that.
And why is it Zach? All right. That is the 419. Here we go. Question number 1. What's your favorite quote about life?
Mine. I can just.
Yes.
Sometimes you have to take the leap and grow your wings on the way down.
Right.
I like that.
Do you have one?
No,
Stick with her, man. I can see how this whole thing works.
Happy wife, happy life.
There you go.
Excellent.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes, dear.
Perfect, yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
dear.
okay.
If you won the lottery, what's the first thing you'd buy?
A gold-plated saw.
Car.
Yes, my daughter totaled my car. I'd buy a car.
Oh.
Okay.
She's fine.
She's fine.
My car's not.
Yeah.
So a car would be great.
Hesitant to ask.
Yeah.
She's okay.
She's okay.
Brian, don't let me down on this one. What's the most interesting piece of trivia you know?
Ooh. Oh, no, there's a lot there.
I know.
If you don't have one, I have one.
Go ahead, because I can't even narrow it down. There's just so many little woodworking things that I've learned over the past few years from the members.
Tapioca is made from the manioc root out of West Africa.
I don't even know what you said.
Tapioca is made from the manioc root, which is originated out of the West Africa. It's not about.
And actually, the same root that they use to do that, they make.
You already blew your
wood
chance,
flowers.
Yeah, the Sola wood flowers, they make it out of the same plant.
I'm going to try to incorporate that fact into my conversation.
Yeah, you can ask my dad. My dad is a trivia whiz.
What's the most impressive thing that you know how to do?
I mean, look at the flyer, man.
Build tables.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the one word that you would use to describe the city of Toledo or the region?
Me or him?
Both.
Both.
Yeah.
Community.
Okay. Yeah, definitely community. We've absolutely found that here.
We're blessed.
Perfect. Okay, now, Matt.
9 of your favorite things in the city and or region.
Weather.
All right. An odd answer.
Yeah.
We have all the weather, which is
We have all the weather.
which is great.
4
all the
seasons.
weather.
We'll take
4 seasons. There you go.
Our community.
Community. Yep. Gotcha.
Yeah, community definitely.
Where do you like to eat?
Mexican.
All right.
Yep, we'll go with Mexican. Mommy Bay Brewing
Mommy Bay,
Company.
sure.
Love Mommy Bay.
When you go outside, where do you like to go?
Well, the Metro Parks, of
God bless
course.
you. I'll give it 2 for that. I don't know. I have to
2 for that.
That's an excellent answer.
Keep going. Now you've got some kiddos too, so we got to get them.
The zoo.
Yeah, the
Mudheads.
zoo. All right, your money.
Are we talking about those places?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah, the Toledo Museum of Art, all of the National Museum of the Great Lakes.
There
You have to say
Can't
it.
leave
I
that
have
out.
to say that one.
right.
And our children.
Your children.
What are the kids' names?
And the wood
Mallory
shop.
and Zach. Oh, and the wood shop, and Inspired Lumber Workshop.
What's the name of it
because
again?
Inspired Lumber Workshop.
Where
Where's
can
it
people
at?
find it?
It is across from Cricket West at the corner of Secor and Central.
What's the website?
InspiredLumberWorkshop.com, and our nonprofit is InspiredLumberProject.org.
And what's the phone number?
419-754-1408.
Oh, good.
Anything else?
What is the next opportunity for somebody? I know you guys do classes, right? So if you don't want to come in and before you get in there and just go hog wild on the workshop on your own, you do have classes to walk people through how to build things, not dissimilar to what Salute to Carpentry is doing. What's the next class that's coming up?
Well, the classes are all on the schedule and on our website. But the ones we do consistently to get people in to become a member, the first thing you have to do is come and take a safety class. We do those every Wednesday and Saturday. So that would be the first step. If somebody wants to come in, look for one of those classes, get scheduled on one of those days, and then we proceed from there. See how big your interest is in it. The safety class it's a hands-on process. So by the end of that, you can pretty much gauge whether or not you want to do this or not.
I bought a gift for my Aunt Sheila as a thank you for helping me with so many things. Got her, I bought the safety class for her, which was a way to get her into.
She makes a beautiful mailbox. She's done all kinds of stuff. She's great. We love Sheila.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for our desk.
Yes, it's wonderful.
We love it.
All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll wrap up this special Memorial Day edition of the 419.
You laughed with us. You learned with us.
Hi, neighbor.
We made sure your childhood was special. Memories that could only be provided by PBS. For generations, we've given you programs that made a difference. Programs that entertained, informed, and inspired. And today is no different. This is WGTE Public Media in Toledo. It's where you belong.
Welcome back into the 419 as we wrap up this Memorial Day edition of the 419. There are so many incredible organizations serving veterans, and I know obviously we're talking about folks serving veterans, but the reality is, as Amanda reminded us, today is about remembering the folks that gave the ultimate sacrifice.
Yeah, we have a relatively silly show, though we do try to highlight important things, so it is a little bit uncomfortable for us to potentially sound sincere, but what an important message. And we talk about the greater of serving a community and being there for others, and Memorial Day is about giving up the ultimate for others. So,
and we've said it so many times, but this is an example of 4 more people in our community who had no responsibility whatsoever to set up these organizations and do the work they're doing, and the impact they're having in the veteran community is great.
Yeah,
well said, Gretchen.
Thank you.
Yeah. You can put the oxygen mask on yourself, and that's enough, right? But to take the time and to build organizations, to dedicate your lives to this, certainly it's something that I see through Amanda, I see it through Anna and Brian. It's hard, right? It's hard work. And so yes, it's rewarding, but the reality is, it would have been easier for them to solve the problem for themselves, and that's it. But our community is full of incredible people that want to build a stronger, better Northwest Ohio. And the folks at Lucas County Veteran Services support both of those organizations, do incredible work across Northwest Ohio, and certainly we appreciate what they're doing. Huge thanks to Amanda, Steve, Anna, and Brian for being on the program. And thanks to you for joining us here on Memorial Day as well. If you missed any part of the show, you can catch it 7 a.m. on YouTube, 3 p.m. on FM 91, or 6 p.m. on WGTE Connects, channel 30.4. Of course, online, WGTE.org/the419. It's the 419, powered by WGTE, presented by H.O.O.V.E.S Management.
The 419, powered by WGTE, is made possible in part by supporters like you. Thank you.